You are now watching Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
All right, we are back for another episode of Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. I am Perry White. He is the man, the myth, the legend himself, the Hall of Famer, Roger Cador, and my guy, Garrett Edgerson, are holding it down on the board. Coach, good morning, and how are you?
I'm doing good.
Doing good?
Yeah.
Feeling good?
PJ looked like he's wearing you out.
Oh, no, Coach. You got to stay youthful. You got to stay youthful, especially over the summer, and prep yourself when the kids get to you. So how did you keep yourself youthful all those years?
I don't know.
How was your weekend, man?
Pretty good, and yours? I didn't do much, stayed at the house. Was a little hot, and got to watch some college baseball, which is always an interesting situation, and had some pretty good games, you know. I like that I saw some North Carolina State game and Florida State and North Carolina, Clemson, Georgia, the team from Indiana, Evanston, Indiana, Evansville. I mean, you know, I got to see some games that was pretty, you know, interesting.
Well, you talk about a team like Evanston, right? A smaller school amongst the big names of the blue bloods of when you talk about big time programs. What's so exciting about when you get those smaller schools who can get in there and they push Tennessee, who is perhaps the best team in the country? They was able to get game 2 against Tennessee, man, and it shocked a lot of people.
Well, because of pitching, you know, and they got three good hitters, and that's all it takes. In that part of the country, they're going to miss players, the big schools, because they ain't going into the cold part looking for them. And that's when coaches who are good coaches can teach and develop. They get a couple of good arms, and they develop, and a couple of bats that's decent, and develop, and that's how you become competitive. They're not getting a kid from the South to go up to Evansville. That ain't happening. So they got to get it from there.
Yeah, I love to see when you get those smaller schools that can make it into a super regional and push those teams. Tennessee is a team I've been paying attention to all year. Of course, they were the #1 team. They went into the SEC tournament. They won the SEC tournament in a hell of a game against LSU. And then they showed what they could do in the regional, went to the super regional, and now they'll be getting ready to head to Omaha. Another team I looked at, I watched the Florida and Clemson game. I mean, that was a hell of a super regional between those two teams going back and forth. And Florida wins the entire thing off a walk-off home run. So Texas A&M and Oregon last night in a hell of a game. And so, you know, it's just that time of year where you see some of the best baseball in the country and you see what separates team to make these teams the best teams in the country.
And, you know, obviously, if you don't have pitching, you don't have a shot. And that showed even when teams you saw, there were teams that gave up trying to win because they scored 16, 17 runs. They gave up the opportunity. Say, hey, we down, we're going to save our arms for the one game that matters. You got me? And sometimes you have to make those decisions as coaches. Do you blow a game or throw it or dump it, whatever you call it?
I got a question for you because as I was watching Oregon, Texas A&M last night, of course, Oregon on the road at Texas A&M. The bases were loaded. Texas A&M, of course, was up to bat. And they were up. Oregon was up 8-6. But the pitcher walked 2 guys, ended up tying the game. And then Texas A&M ultimately hit a grand slam and went up in the ball game. When you have the bases loaded, 1 out, the 7th inning, you up by 2. The pitcher walks a guy, now it goes from 8-6 to 8-7. At what point as a coach do you go out and speak? Do you kind of hold your horse? Because their coach held his horses and he didn't do anything until after the fact Texas A&M finally got on the board when he walked 2 runners. Is that a tough decision, a tough call for a coach to kind of watch that situation in terms of making that call?
He knows his team better than anybody.
Yeah.
That's what I'm basing it on. And he decided we're better with this pitcher going forward than me bringing someone else to try and put out the fire. So I think that's what it was based upon.
Yeah.
He had a feel that this was his best shot, the pitcher. And even after he hit a batter, walk one, you really still may have that feeling. But then when he brought in the reliever, the guy hits a home run, right?
Hits the grand slam.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
what maybe he was thinking. So, I didn't see any of that game, so I can't elaborate much on it. But
It just gave me a spot when you're looking at coaching and how tough I guess it is to make those calls. Stick with a guy, bases loaded, one out, situation, opportunity where the game can switch, and it ultimately flipped in Texas A&M's favor. And they ended up going up 14-8 after being down 8-6 in one inning.
yeah, those schools, man, when they can score big once they get something going. And we found that out in most of the games. When they let them off the hook, they came in and scored big amount of runs to take the lead, So that's what most coaches are basing. They're going on gut feeling. It wasn't analytic that much in that game with Oregon and Texas A&M. That particular situation, I think it was more the coaches feeling this is our best shot.
I never asked you this question, but considering all the teams that you have taken on in your career, and if you can recall, and I don't know how to bottle this in, but I ask you this, is there one particular team that you can recall going against that you just said, man, that was the best team we probably ever played?
That's a good one. We played against a lot of great LSU baseball teams. They were really great. In the 80s, the 90s, early 2000s, we played them every year. So at some point, we played some really good teams. So, you pick them.
Yeah.
Now in the 80s and 90s, we obviously, in the early 2000s, we could hold our own against them because we had a lot of good players. So it's really tough to say.
Yeah. But those LSU teams, they were some pretty good teams going against Skip Berkman and those squads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good teams.
That Cal State Fullerton team that you guys beat in the late 80s, how good was that team when you guys took them on and became the first HBCU to win a regional?
Well, they were ranked number 2 in the nation, so somebody thought they were damn good. Oh, you don't get to be that high. And so, we were able to take them. Remember, the phenomenon is we were playing a team from the West Coast, and we had kids from the South. And the humidity, I think, helped us.
Yeah.
It was humid in New Orleans that night. It was, God delivered what I asked. I said, I want it to be 100-some degrees and 150% humidity.
Woo!
He delivered. And the other thing I asked that the players go out in Bourbon Street and stay out all night. I don't know if they did that, but God delivered on the humidity and the heat.
Let me tell you 2 things that don't match: being on bourbon all night just to go out and be in the heat and the humidity the next day. Them 2 things don't match. That's a recipe to be for a loss, coach.
Yeah, that's why I asked for it. So I know God doesn't get involved in athletic events because he wants everybody to win. But I did ask. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. And other than that, any team right now that you've been watching looks like in college baseball just the flat-out best team right now?
Well, North Carolina looked like a really good team.
Oh, yeah.
Tennessee doesn't look bad. They look like they could be a team going to give people some trouble. And I sort of like Clemson and Florida.
Yeah. They were like neck and neck, but what and what, aren't they?
So one is going to go home.
Yeah.
Who won that game? I don't know.
Florida.
Huh?
Florida.
I thought that, Clemson was a better team, but Florida do have some good players.
I look at it as always interesting, especially when you get to this time of year and you look at these conferences with all of these teams. And this year, everybody looked at the SEC with having so many teams that made it to regionals. as you was coming through the coaching ranks and you saw these different conferences, what conference seemed to be, when you first got into baseball, one of the most dominant conferences when you looked all around at their programs?
Well, you know, you had Texas, Oklahoma, Texas A&M.
The old
Oklahoma
Big 12.
State, old Big 12 was pretty tough. Then you had the West Coast Conference, the Pac-12 or Pac-10, whatever it was. And you had a little-known conference that Cal State Fullerton was coming out of. They were not, but they were pretty tough. And then you had the SEC and the ACC, of course. And whoever the Big Ten,
Yeah.
Big Ten wasn't that good in baseball.
Yeah.
You know, because they weren't emphasizing it as much. So it all worked out.
Seemed like the SEC, when you talk about the funding, they took baseball very serious. And a lot of these programs in the SEC have channeled a lot of money into these baseball programs. And I think as you saw, as time went on, you start to see the development of all of these programs starting to be really good. Hosting regionals, making it to regionals, making it to the College World Series. When it takes a conference as a whole and look at each other and say, you know what, we have to make an investment to make that a better conference as a whole. Did you ever have that conversation with coaches and administrators around the SWAC?
No, because they didn't want to hear it. All they looked at is baseball costs them money to operate. Well, any successful business is going to have a cost up front. But you can make it where it could help with some of your write-offs, your expenses. You got me? We proved it here.
Yeah, you did.
We proved it. And that's all I could say is that if they say it can't be done, they'll lie. Because we did it. We made it work. We sold advertising. We got on TV. I mean, we did it. And so it can be done, but you can't hire a lazy coach. The ADs hire lazy coaches. That's all I can place it on. And they don't do nothing. The AD doesn't have the money, the budget to support what they need, and they won't go out and do anything.
It's just, you know, if you need something, like the old folks used to say, a closed mouth does not get fed. So if you know you need something to help elevate the program, then if nobody else is going to do it, you got to get out there and do it yourself. And I think you are the epitome of getting it out there and doing it yourself.
Well, you know, that was the only way we were going to get it. I knew it wasn't going to come from the administration. And I said, yeah, we're going to do it. We'll go do it on our own. And it wasn't all that. Took time. It took years. But I kept pecking away at it, you know. And then, you know, we signed by selling ads in Media Guide. Then we started by, which we got all the players involved in there. And then the next thing was signs on the outfield fence. You know, started at $500, then went up to $15, then $2,000, then $2,500. I mean, this is the way you build it. You build it, you know. And so we did quite well because we tried, and failure was a part of it. We failed, and we understood we were going to fail at some things, but it didn't stop us. We just made it work.
It's like building something grassroots, having to start from the bottom up. A lot of people may not want to do it from the bottom up, but, you know, you had the motivation to want to do it. Was it ever a point where you kind of felt deterred? Like, you know what?
No, never.
Never?
No, that didn't exist. Oh, don't bring that. That didn't exist. Never once. Never once did I think we didn't want to do this or we weren't going to do it. Never once.
What did you learn about yourself through that process of selling ads, learning to build a program, getting a stadium, getting all the essential things just to have a program? What do you learn about yourself over those years as you went through that? Because it had to be new for you, a new opportunity, a new position for you.
But I learned that I wasn't one that gave up. And I knew that my background, where I came from, was a difficult situation. And I didn't give up. I was against all odds. My book says it, against all odds. And I didn't give up. why would I give up on something that was so easy? It was easy. It was like taking candy from a baby.
You were different. You were very different.
Yeah.
And when you look around and you saw these other coaches, you was like, you know what? I'm gonna outwork them. I'm gonna go one step, two steps up.
Yeah. I knew I was going to outwork them. You know, and I made sure I didn't spend any time with the other coaches because all wasn't negative. What you gained, what you don't have. You know.
And you focused on what we can have.
Yeah.
All right, let's get ready to take a break. Come back, we'll have more Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White.
Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946. Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Congratulations, East Baton Rouge. You did it. You topped every big city in the country. You envisioned an ambitious multi-year reinvention of our park system. And we, as a community, embarked on a multi-year effort to reimagine our parks and facilities. And all that work didn't go unnoticed. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your parks, our purpose.
With over 60 years of combined experience, Kathy Sherburne and Anna Barnett bring a wealth of knowledge and excitement to the framing industry. Keeping strong to the Louisiana culture, Acadian Frame and Art has numerous local artists and sports team memorabilia for their customers to choose from. Whether you're creating a gallery-like setting in your office or simply looking for some fun art for your kids' playroom, Acadian Frame and Art is your one-stop picture framing spot. Call 225-927-6129 or go to www.acadianframe.com.
Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Get the memoir from the legendary baseball coach from Southern University, Roger Cador, Against All Odds. Roger refused to let his past dictate his future by rising to legendary college baseball status. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope. Against All Odds chronicles Coach Cador's determination to reach higher, to want more, and to dig deeper to find the courage to chase his dreams. Against All Odds. Get yours today by Cador & Cador Publishing. You are now watching Choppin' It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
All right, back for more Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. I'm Perry White. He's Roger Cador. And my guy Garrett Edgerson holding it down on the production side. Coach, you know, that first half we were talking about the regionals, super regionals headed into the College Baseball World Series. But as we were coming down, you were talking about having to build a program, and talking about building a program comes down to finances. And I know the last show when we had conversations, you was talking about how we should be teaching financial literacy and having that conversation to get people to understand the importance of saving and investing your money. And as you built the program from the ground up, what did you learn about finances that ultimately got you to be financial literate to what you see today?
Well, you know, first of all, the money we raised, we put it to what we said we were going to put it to. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing as when you build a home and you got to equip that home. Mm-hmm. You got to take the money and put it to what you say you're going to put it to. Mm-hmm. You can't take it and go out and gamble to a casino because you'll end up losing it in all probability. So that's what I found out, that whatever money I had to put it to what we needed the most. And baseball and bats and other type of equipment like that were tremendous needs for our program. So I made sure I put the money to that. And so I learned the discipline. And then when you go out and ask people for donation or people give money to you, you do with it what you said you're going to do. Mm-hmm. And what really helped us more than anything is that the people who made huge donation, bigger donation, they could see where their money was going. Mm-hmm. Because if someone gives you $50,000 or $100,000 and nothing, they look around and they see nothing, they wonder, where in the hell did the money go? Mm-hmm. Well, I put the money together and people could see, because we built a baseball field. Mm-hmm. We built a clubhouse. So people could see that the money was being put in the right direction. And that's the biggest thing we did.
Did you learn from that experience of this in your personal life in terms of finances, and then becoming more financial literate in your personal life?
Well, I used what I had already learned in my life to do what I did here with the baseball program. So it wasn't that it taught me. I was teaching, hopefully, somebody else what I knew that I'd been doing for years. And there's something about discipline with money. Discipline. Discipline. If you can be disciplined and take $50 a month, I use that, I tell my son that all the time, and he's, oh, here we go. But that's what I started with, $50 a month. Bam, 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 put it away, then go spend it. It ended up turning out to be pretty damn good. But I really wish I had done what I really knew. And it's used the Jewish system of things. And people get mad with the Jewish people, but the Jewish people owe a lot to the world. The world owe the Jewish people a lot. They put a health system in place, a monetary system. You know, who dude knows about derivatives? Like the Jewish people. They know stuff about money that nobody else knows. And this is why damn every president in the United States, a Jewish person is their big money person. Like Janet Yellen and Howard Greenspan and Bernanke. All of those are Jewish people. They understand something about money that nobody else does because it was taught in the Jewish community how you make money work. And they know how to do it better than anybody.
What would be, you know, for anybody that's listening and may not be financially literate, what would you say to them to get on the right track to start? Because you got to start somewhere. And I think for a lot of people, it's how do I start? And then there's a process to it. Money doesn't just accumulate and turn into something great overnight. There's a process to it.
That's right. Well, you know, it's better if you work at a place and they could take the money out and put it somewhere for you. It's better that way because you don't have to see it and you don't miss it many times. But it's hard for people to take the money and do it themselves because they're going to take a few months and say, well, I need to this. You don't need it, you want it. That's something you just want to put your hand on, but you really don't need it. So that's the best way. But to get you know, I always want to say financial advisor, but you really don't need one. If you're gonna, in the beginning, you really don't need a financial advisor. You need a financial advisor if you got monies that you want to put into the market and move if you're just starting out, it's all about taking an X number of dollars, putting it and go and put it in, buy Apple, buy Amazon, buy Microsoft. You know, go buy stocks and, you know.
So for you, you believe more into the stocks and maybe, you know, because a lot of people use start up business or real estate, stocks, you know, for you, what would you suggest and what worked best for you that you think?
Well, real estate and stock has really done good for me. And I've been able to do well with those two programs. Real estate is a really good investment if you can get rental property. I prefer duplex over houses because what happened with a house, if someone stay in the house and they leave and stay out for 4 or 5 months, you have no rent coming in. If one person leave a duplex, you still got money coming in, you can still pay the notes. You know what I mean? So that's the advantage. But with the way things are now, a house is not a bad investment to rent, simply because you can't go buy a house. You're not going to have the down payment, and I say you, I'm not speaking to you. The 20% down payment, by the time you pay closing costs and inspection and everything, there's no way you're going to be able to afford that house. An article was written 50 years ago by some guy. The guy was really ahead of his time. He wrote it 50 years ago, and he said, by 2030, very few people in America will be able to afford a home. And we're at 24 right now, 6 years away. And what is happening?
It's tough in the housing market right now.
Tough to own a house. Can't get your hand on it. So the point I'm making, that guy who wrote that article knew where it was going. And so if people can put their hand on rent, on property that you can rent, you're gonna make money because remember, people can't buy houses, they gotta rent.
What would be the biggest turnover that you would say when it comes to rental? Because a lot of people want to get into real estate and rental property. You know, having those tenants, making sure you have good tenants, long-term tenants, 6-month lease, 12-month lease, and then also the maintenance of things that come about. Because, you know, one of the biggest things to spend, especially is if that AC unit or something goes out, you know, the stuff like that, central heating and air, plumbing, those type of appliances.
Really, it's the piece of cake, sir. You know, those things happen in your house, so they happen in rental property. But there is, you want to always do a 1 year lease at a time. You want to find good tenants, which you mentioned. You want to probably do a background check on people. It's always good to invest in a background check. You get the wrong person, and then they tell you.
Yeah.
I've been extremely fortunate. I've had great tenants. They treat my place like their home. And that's important. And I have long-term tenants. They don't want to leave. Now, I charge them a little less than the going rate, a lot less than the going rate. But I'm more than a landlord to them. I'm more than that. And when I say that, I truly mean that. There are people who just want to collect. I'm more than that to them. I am someone that no matter what, before it happens, I got it taken care of, literally. And I remember them on special days. They get a gift. No landlord does that. They're not doing it. But I wanted to, when you say I was different, you damn right I am different. You see, you got to treat people in a way they never want to leave. They never want to leave. And they're happy that I am their landlord. And I'm not bragging. This is one, I coached 40 years, and this makes me as happy as me coaching. The fact that my landlords my tenants look at me more than a landlord. They see me as someone that is really a good person, that ain't like no other landlord that they have ever seen.
And I ask that too because if you make that investment, let's say Perry gets a duplex today. As I go through that process of a duplex, I know at some point there's going to be some form of expense that comes down to maintenance. If I was to balance that, and from your perspective, from money being brought in from monthly rent, how much would you tell me or advise me to put up for a rainy day for those expenses?
Treat it as if it doesn't exist, that the money is not there. Take the money and put it in a place and
don't touch it at all as it's coming.
Well, you got to treat it as if it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Remember, you got someone working for you in the dark or at night when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
That's what rental property does. It works for you when you're sleeping.
Yeah, you're making money when you sleep.
Yeah. And I don't even look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm different. I'm to the point where I pretty much know that there are things I don't need. And I can do what I want to do. If I want to go take a vacation or trip, I can go.
What ways would you, if you were to be able to sit down with ADs and administrators at HBCUs and help them understand the importance of teaching financial literacy to freshmen as they're coming in? Because, one of the biggest things that we see are when students leave, they have this huge debt because a lot of times you're taking loans bigger than what you need for school because everybody wants the refund check. You want the money, but that long-term effect of having taken that refund check and taking those loans, and when Sally Mae give you a call, Sally Mae call you and she'll find out where you work and garnish your checks and all this. So to teach financial literacy amongst our young people, particularly African Americans at our HBCUs, because a lot of them come from backgrounds of struggles when it comes to finances.
That loan, the student loan, is the only loan in America. If you take it, you got to repay it or they come in. That's the only one. It's the only one.
And it's easy to get without collateral.
Easy to get. And the government trick you into taking it. And you don't know. But you got to pay that loan back. You can go get $1 million loan or something and don't have to pay that back. But that student loan, student debt must be paid. So my thing is, what I would do is, and I've spoken to a couple of people at Southern about financial literacy. Has to be taught. It has got to be brought to the kids. They have to have it. What we're doing now don't work. It's not working. And I said, we've got to start thinking 40, 50 years ahead of us, where kids now can make money and they'll be able to give back.
Yeah.
They can't do it now because we're forcing them to live in debt. They're never going to have money if we don't teach them how to make money, save money, invest money, and give back. All of those things have to be taught.
Yeah. And that does matter, especially when you look at it, alumni federations and associations who reach out and, they have you swear in that, you'll become a member of whatever that chapter is, wherever city you in. And not only that, then once you go off and you start to get those letters of saying, hey, yeah, we want you to be a season ticket holder when it comes to sports. Yeah, we want you to be a monthly donor or to give to us weekly. Well, I got my bills. I got Sally Mae calling me saying garnishing and wanting what they want plus life.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. And until we start, and I've talked to a couple of board members, they got to get off their fannies and get to that business department and have a class taught where everybody should be able to take financial literacy. Everybody, make it a requirement. And you're going to help people, but it's not going to help our generation as much. But 50 years, we can start breaking the vicious cycle.
Yeah. I think that was one of the things a lot of people, especially with Joe Biden, with his campaign running, was talking about the opportunities of canceling student loans for so many people, because student loans stop so many people from advancing in life when it came to certain things because of credit and issues that they had. And a lot of people don't realize when you're young, these banks and these companies, they target you. They're predators, right? Because they come at you for credit cards. They're coming at you with the Parent Plus loans and all of these other things. So it's tough when it comes to situations of having to teach literacy to these students and have them understand that the decisions that you make today will affect you down the line. And you may not understand it now, but down the line, it'll come back to you, especially when you're ready to invest and take that next step in life.
I see and I don't walk around campus much anymore, but we allow people come on here offering credit card to these kids, but we won't damn it teach them financial literacy. How could you do that with a clean conscience? You burying them more. While they're hollering, don't put any more dirt on me, please. They're saying, take it off. Take it off of me, Perry. But they throw more dirt on them. Those are the kind of stuff that's...
I can tell you a story. I remember when I was my freshman year, when I was going to school in Arkansas, and what happened, they came on campus and handed out all these flyers. They knew students were hungry, right? You're a freshman, you don't got much money. So what they did, they said, if you come sign up for a credit card, you'll get a free large pizza at Domino's. So what they were doing, the place was packed. You had all of these students just to come get a free large pizza, but signing up to get these credit cards. And that's how they were doing it.
Yeah. But, this is why I want to find a way to teach it. I want to find a way. And I'm going to pound that damn door Bum Phillips once said, you heard of Bum Phillips? Used to coach at Houston Oilers. Love You Blue, Earl Campbell was running.
Yeah, I know Earl Campbell.
You heard of him?
Yeah, great running back.
I thought the neurosurgeon would have heard him. They used to play the song, Love You Blue. You remember neurosurgeon?
The Houston Oilers might have been a little bit before our time, but I remember Earl Campbell. I remember when they got to Memphis and the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah,
who they are.
yeah, did. Well, Bum, boy, they were good. Saying Love You Blue was going crazy. And they lost a close, tight game. He said, we knocked on the door this year. Next year we're gonna, I ain't gonna say what he said.
Say it, Coach.
Kick it in. No, that's what he said. Bum Phillip, Love You Blue. There are listeners out there who knows what I'm talking about. They can remember Bum Phillips. They could remember Earl Campbell running. And he said that. They had the blue signs and Love You Blue. Hey, those are memorable moments, okay?
All right, well, let's get ready to take a break. We'll come back on the other side and get ready to close things out so you guys are watching more of Choppin' Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White.
Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946. Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Congratulations, East Baton Rouge. You did it. You topped every big city in the country. You envisioned an ambitious multi-year reinvention of our park system. And we, as a community, embarked on a multi-year effort to reimagine our parks and facilities. And all that work didn't go unnoticed. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your parks, our purpose.
With over 60 years of combined experience, Kathy Sherburne and Anna Barnett bring a wealth of knowledge and excitement to the framing industry. Keeping strong to the Louisiana culture, Acadian Frame and Art has numerous local artists and sports team memorabilia for their customers to choose from. Whether you're creating a gallery-like setting in your office or simply looking for some fun art for your kids' playroom, Acadian Frame and Art is your one-stop picture framing spot. Call 225-927-6129 or go to www.acadianframe.com.
Get the memoir from the legendary baseball coach from Southern University, Roger Cador, Against all odds, Roger refused to let his past dictate his future by rising to legendary college baseball status. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope. Against all odds chronicles Coach Cador's determination to reach higher, to want more, and to dig deeper to find the courage to chase his dreams. Against all odds, get yours today by Cador and Cador Publishing. You are now watching Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
All right, we're back with more Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. My guy Garrett Edgerton holding it down behind the camera. Coach, you just got some good news, didn't we?
We got very good news.
Coach Chris Crenshaw, Southern University head baseball coach, been selected as one of the coaches with USA Baseball, so he'll be traveling internationally, being able to go out and do some things and represent Southern University. And you and I were having a conversation off camera, and it was interesting that, you know, I don't know the depth of the history, but to hear from you and giving that history, to have him selected is something big, because you said during your years having African-American black coaches, being a part of that was not a thing.
Yeah, we're never going to be. And I couldn't understand it, but now I do. That you needed to change the leadership at the top, because leadership at the top control a lot. And once they began to put new life in their younger people with different views on coaching, you know, we had Omar Johnson last year went to USA team.
Jackson State, coming from Jackson State.
And now this year, Chris Crenshaw. So that means 2 years in a row they've selected a black coach, which is really good. Now, I think Coach Cooper, when he was coaching at Grambling, went 1 year.
Okay.
So to my knowledge, there's been 3 coaches that has had that opportunity. And it's huge because you get international. He said they will travel to Chinese Taipei, which is going to be in Taiwan. So that's really a good experience.
And normally, especially you talk about Chinese Taipei, you normally see one of their international teams always competing in the Little League World Series. So they definitely have ballers over there. And to see USA Baseball represent and go around the world and show. But baseball, like you have shown through your countless efforts working along with MLB, has grown to truly be not just America's sport, but a true international sport.
It is international. And that's why MLB this week played the London series where they had the Phillies played, I can't think of who they played.
The Mets.
The Mets. And, you know, they had that series in London.
That's interesting. You know, now that I think about it, I've never even, when we talk about Europe, I've never even associated baseball to Europe.
Well, and what so happened, Tony Reagan, who is high-ranking African-American in the commissioner office, he and I talk on Saturday mornings or Friday morning. Friday morning, because it was 6 hours different in time. And he was telling me he went to a workout, and they have some really legitimate players.
Over in Europe?
Yeah, but he said they were from all the country, but he said he saw some European players that was really pretty good.
That's interesting, because, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, thought about that idea, but you don't get those foreign European guys saying, you know, coming over. You see it in basketball now.
Yeah.
You're starting to see it a lot more in basketball, but I never paid attention to that in baseball.
Well, they're catching. Remember, it takes a time for everything to catch up.
In the same way, like you look at the Caribbean and Central America, at what point do you think it'll catch on in the African countries?
Well, it all depends on investment. If we invest in the African country, it's going to speed up the progress. We'll get more because Africans are better athletes. And you hate to use them, but they are who they are. And I think it'll catch up. And, you know, see, just like Dominican, you know, they made the investment in Dominica. Look what happened. They made them, that's why Brazil, Watch out for Brazil.
That's the next country coming along that's going to be in the game of baseball.
They got over 360 million people in Brazil. A lot of brothers over there.
Yeah.
Watch Brazil. Watch Brazil. That's all I keep saying. And I've been telling people, I gave a talk to some kids in New Roads, and it was about education. I talked with them about. And I said, America is going, youngsters in America are being challenged. And it's going to be from the kids out of the far west, the Mideast, and the one closest to you is Brazil. They're the one that's closest to you. Watch out for them because they coming too. And I truly believe that. I go down to Central America a lot, and you could see, you could feel a change is coming. You know, who's that? A change is coming. Was that Marvin Gaye or and Tammy Terrell?
I was going to say maybe Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke, a change is coming. You're a Chicago boy. You might have heard of Sam. One of the great artists of his time, Sam Cooke.
Oh, now I'm not going to go down the story.
Coach, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So David Justice talked to Keyshawn Johnson, I want to say last week, and David Justice was saying, why does the MLB decide to build all these facilities in these other countries when they don't want to do it in our black communities?
I understand to a degree.
It's a hell of a question.
Yeah, they're building a few in the other countries, but in America, if you build 20, you're going to have to build 100 because everybody coming. You build it here, got to build it here. So the way they're doing it now, sprinkling it around, it works for them, you got me? And they got a way out that a lot of people don't know, the ones that are being built. Those cities have to put up some money too. It ain't MLB alone, okay? And people don't understand that. MLB will not, and I can tell you that, I'm in the meeting, they will not build a facility without community support, because if they do, everybody's coming. So if community support, MLB will build what Dave Justice said they won't build.
So you're saying that if we want to get more black people like us in the MLB, as a community, we have to support them bringing these things to the community.
Well, it's not just for black kids, and we get, again, I'm in the meeting, the words are used careful. It's for the community. You can't exclude anyone. I mean, you can't exclude them. Am I correct? Would you? Black folks been excluded all our lives, right? Would you want to now be excluded? You don't want to be excluded like your great-grandparents were.
I would say to that, not necessarily saying excluded, but if you're looking to change the nature of the game and get more blacks to be involved, because I was having this conversation with Mark Gray over the weekend. He covers the Baltimore Orioles. He was saying, you know, Baltimore, that stadium, they had a great team last year.
Yeah.
They could probably get 6,000 to 8,000 more people in the stadium. Baltimore is a pretty much predominantly black city that has a disconnect to the black residents, that if you know that you did more into the community, maybe and had black players or players that look like more of the community, you may can get more of the community to the games.
I understand what you're saying, sir.
Yeah. So I feel maybe along with that, what Garrett's asking, you know, to understand that it go beyond maybe just getting more players on the team, but if you start to make those teams look like the communities in which they playing in, maybe you'll get more people to come to those games where you can get attendance to go up and get more eyes and focus on the game of MLB.
They're trying to.
Yeah.
You know, football and basketball got a monopoly on the black athletes.
It's easy. I want to say David Justice was like, you could just go outside and throw a football. It's hard. David Justice said you could just pick up a football and go outside. You can pick up a basketball.
Basketball, go.
Baseball, you need the glove, you need the bat, you need the balls, X, Y, Z. So
Yeah, you need a lot more. It's more expensive.
yeah.
And you're going to need a coach.
How are those kids in those, like you said, Central America and Dominican, what are they doing with the lack of resources? Because I've seen some hell of a videos of the type of creative ways that they can come up in old school stick ball, right?
And corn. I've done grain of corn. I've gone in Puerto Rico and I see a man bring a bucket of grain of corn every day and go in there with a stick, the kid swinging to hit the corn. Don't you think that building great eye-hand coordination?
It definitely is, because a kernel of corn,
Oh,
you got to have some good eyes to hit that.
doing right. I used to love it. I would go watch them, you know. And that's what I like about going to those countries. They use creative ways to teach. They're not like America.
Yeah.
They teach in a creative way.
As kids, I mean, learning to swing was just simply getting a stick and some rocks.
That's right.
You
That's
know?
what I learned.
Yeah. Stick and rocks and swing away. And then, you come across a glove, and then eventually, somebody will get a ball. Well, now we hitting that ball with a broomstick or something. You found ways, but, these days with kids, it's a little bit more catered to having to kind of make sure that they have the essentials more so than saying, go figure it out.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think we're in a good spot. I think I'm starting to see a lot of parents, a lot of women taking their sons
Right.
to play T-ball and be in Little League Baseball. So I think we're going to be in a good spot to grow, hopefully, the black community in MLB. Because I want to say it's only 6% right now. And
That's nothing. You got to also look at neurosurgeon. We lost so many black men through so much. The gun violence, the drugs, the jail, prison. I mean, we've lost
And then we lost them to football and basketball.
football and basketball. But a guy gave a scenario. He said, 4 million black boys start out playing high school basketball. 4,000 make it to college on scholarship. And then 30 sign basketball professional contract, and only 5 make the team. Why would that many people fight for 5 jobs? I've told them that before. It makes sense to other people tell them. Why would you want to go play basketball when you're only 5 a year?
Do you think NIL will change the game too? Because, basketball is a sport that is watched heavily. Do you think NIL and baseball could help that? No? It'll be a bigger,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Because everybody know football right now, if you go play football, NIL is definitely at this point finna channel a lot more kids into football, because you can go to college now and the few that are good enough can go at that position and whatever they're doing and
They're
make
going
6
for the quick
figures.
money.
And yeah.
And they're going to be broke because you got to pay taxes on it.
And they need that financial literacy. G, where we at on time? Okay. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, there you go. This is so timely to be able to discuss that so people could understand it. There are things I've helped some of my former players with when they listen. If they want the information, I give it to them. I show them how it can work, It's you don't have to be a rocket scientist. It's easy if you listen. It's easy.
Well, Coach, we made it to the end of another show. That hour goes by fast, doesn't it?
When you're having fun.
Well, I'm glad to have fun with you. I'm glad you having fun with us. We got G to get on with us today. You say, look, he talked with you, Coach.
He talked to me. Man, we got to get him to talk more. Can I get you to come on here when Perry's not here? Not on.
how it's going to work with me trying to do this and that.
He might have to just put a camera on himself, Coach. He might be able to work with you.
He could do double duty.
Double duty. Well, we hope you guys have enjoyed another episode of Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White. I'll be out for the next couple weeks, moving around. Coach will give you a check second to get some rest. But before we get ready to go, probably by the time we see you again, you'll be dealing with MLB over in Arlington because of the MLB All-Star Game and the HBCU All-Star Game that's associated with it that you helped spearhead.
That's right. And then I'm the guest speaker at the Hank Aaron Invitation. Hank Aaron Invitation in Vero Beach. So I'll have a busy July and a busy August. So I'll be busy, which is good.
Well, you make sure you tell them to subscribe to this channel, and I'm telling you guys that's watching as well, subscribe to the channel, become a subscriber today. It is free. We don't need anything from you. I don't need to know your social security, your debit, nothing, your address. We just need your love and support by hitting that subscribe button, and it is free. That way you can get the notification every time we are live. Coach Cador and myself and Garrett would love to have your support to know that you're watching us each and every time that we go live. And if you don't catch us live, you can always go back and watch us on the YouTube channel or Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. So we appreciate you guys for the support. Coach, you make sure you tell them to watch this show now when you're over there with all them big time people. You make sure you tell them about the show. Then maybe we can get some guests on here, get a couple of them to be some guests. So we hope you guys have enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time. Coach, get us out of here.